Stand clear of the closing doors! In this video, I'm excited to share my experience and thoughts on Washington, D.C. and why it sucks. Before we begin our ride, let me introduce myself. I'm Transit Nomad, a world traveler, business owner, music composer, filmmaker, and life coach on a mission to explore cities through the lens of public transportation. Please consider paying your fare by liking and subscribing or buying me a coffee using the link below. All aboard, let's go! Beginning our next chapter on city cleanliness, homelessness, comfort, and safety, this is another one of Washington, D.C. weaknesses, with the situation worsening in recent years. No matter where you are in the city, chances are you're going to run into some interesting characters who are screaming nonsense, smelling bad, listening to loud music, or looking at you in a strange way. Ignoring them is usually the best thing to do, and they leave you alone. But their presence definitely makes exploring the city a lot less enjoyable, to say the least. While this problem is not unique to Washington, D.C., I expected it to be cleaner than other cities since it's the capital and the face of our nation. But I was wrong, and in addition to some people being loud and not behaving well, some city streets are also covered with trash that makes you feel like you are in a third world country. Although there is a significant police presence, with violent crimes decreasing, crime rates are above the national average in 2024, with 65% of the residents considering crime to be a very serious problem. Washington, D.C. is certainly not a clean or comfortable place to visit or live in, so this category is getting a low score of 2 out of 10. Moving on to the next category of city design, aesthetics, and architecture, I must say that Washington, D.C. is not a well-designed city, and it doesn't feel like it was created for people to enjoy. There are sidewalks, but the distance between important buildings is huge, with boring landscaping and nothing interesting to see or do in between. I love walking around and exploring neighborhoods, but in this case it was not that fun. I felt the lack of restrooms, supermarkets, stores, and other businesses or cool places to hang out. The overall architecture looked kinda boring, lacking character, style, and soul. Most residential buildings didn't stand out either. It was definitely not as beautiful as New York or Chicago, not to mention many other European or Asian cities. It felt like the city was created artificially for politicians to work rather than being built naturally for people to live. Of course, there are some beautiful landmarks that are totally worth visiting, such as the Capitol Building and the Library of Congress. But those are rather exceptions, and it's definitely not like there is always something to look at no matter where you go in the city. If you are planning on visiting Washington, D.C., you should definitely do some research and know where you're going. National Mall and the area around it is pretty big, and everything is much more spread out than it might seem. Be sure to research your options before your trip so you don't have to waste time on that while being in the city. Visiting all the museums and government buildings probably won't be possible, no matter how fast and productive you think you can be. To make things easy, I've prepared an awesome 3-day itinerary based on my personal experience that should be perfect for active travelers looking to see a little bit of everything. Featuring my personal favorite destinations along with the most popular spots that are free to visit. Everything is rated on a 1 to 10 scale and organized based on location and convenience, which should save you plenty of time. If you subscribe or donate any amount, no matter how big or how small, on Buy Me a Coffee, you will get immediate access to this itinerary as a thank you for your support. Having said that, I'm going to give city design, aesthetics, and architecture a score of 4 out of 10. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.